So in normal meetings, you'd sort of expect that the person, the body sitting in front of the room is going to tell you something, has something to impart, has something to give, that something there is sort of missing something, which is often the experience, and that this has whatever it is and can tell you about that. That just simply isn't the case. The whole experience, the difficulty is with non-duality, is that it's not a thing. So it's not something that this has that could give to anyone. And the power of this message is it points out that the experience that something needs to be learned or added or known or changed arises out of a completely illusory experience. And that experience is the experience of awareness, the experience of consciousness, or the experience that I am, the experience of me. That experience of knowing you're sitting in a chair or knowing you're hearing this is illusory. And out of that illusory experience, what happens is it arises, and that I am arises, everything seems to move away. Everything is suddenly separate from me. I am now real and everything else is real. And that brings with it, or has as a consequence, certain part effects to that experience I am. It seems to matter what's happening. It seems to be meaningful. It seems to have purpose. And it seems that I am responsible for all of that, because I am the conductor in the orchestra of my life. I'm the center decision maker in this apparent happening called my life. And the only way that this could tell you something is if that experience were real. Because if that experience were real, then this could tell you how to be in that experience. And that's what teachers will do. And that's what therapy does and all these other exercises do. They tell you how to be in that experience. And what we're suggesting here is that experience is illusory. And what that means is that the entire experience that there's a life, the entire experience that there's an out there that needs to be dealt with, the entire experience that this happening is a consequence, a real consequence of previous happenings, and will be the cause of future happenings. And that there's someone here that can, would, or should do something about it. That's just not the case. The suggestion is, what we're pointing to, is that this is all everything. This is the Alpha and the Omega. This is the beginning and end of it. But this doesn't exclude all of that. It just points out that all of that is this appearing as all of that. That it doesn't actually have a linear experiential reality to it. That it's this, simply this. And that this is already empty of that experience I am. And that emptiness of the experience I am is what's truly longed for. It's the last thing I am wants, but it is the end of seeking, and what's truly longed for is that this has the absence of I am, which is the fullness of everything, without any possibility of it being anything else or any need for it to become. So that's an introduction, sort of a conceptual framework of what we can talk about. Everything as it is has no need. It just simply has no need, intrinsic need, to be anything else, to become anything, to change anything, to acquire anything. There's just no need for any realizations, for anything to happen, for anything to be learned, for anything to be known. It's already fulfilled. This is already fulfilled. And as it is that fulfillment. That includes whatever seems to be happening. It includes any feelings, ideas, thoughts, emotions. Even that idea, I know we talk a lot about a me and the separate experience and the experience of separation. That's fulfillment as well. The appearance simply has no expectation. And the expectation of separation that comes out of separation is an illusion. It says that everything that was just said isn't true yet because it hasn't happened there. If it has or hasn't, I don't know. And that's an illusion. That there's something that needs to happen for this to be fulfilled. Perfect. So in that way, there's nothing right or wrong with anything. Even the experience of needing to become. It just happens to be dissatisfying.
Jim, I actually know from hearing it that the dropping of the me can happen everywhere and it's not bound to this message. But I have the feeling the glimpses always happened in talking about this. So somehow I'm deeply convinced that it has to do something with, not with you, but with the message. Or I think it's more palpable or more close if hearing these words and hearing some other words about, I don't know, self-improvement. But actually it's the same, right?
Well, no, it's not the same. Of course, it's not the same. Self-improvement. And this isn't about self-improvement. But the individual is convinced that cause and effect is real.
Exactly. Yeah. But could you say as well that it is more obviously this?
There is just simply, I mean, you might say that the brain thinks that this is a more plausible explanation, but it's still dependent upon cause and effect. And you're still saying something's really going to happen. But sitting here isn't the effect of anything.
And the dropping of the me isn't an effect of hearing this message.
No. The thing is this is uncaused. So how could it be the effect of something? Like sitting here is uncaused. So the idea that the dropping of me could be the effect of what is already. Just it doesn't make any sense. That's still subtly hope. That something's going to happen. You've made the right choice. And by the way, being here, you have made the right choice.
But you would say it's the total illusion that I made the decision to came here. That
it's a total illusion that you really came here. That there's anything, I'm not saying there isn't the apparent happening of you coming, but what I am saying is that's a memory.
Which is also this.
Well, exactly.
But just happening now as a thought and not as a real
there is
past.
only what is. This. Not as an object, not as something that could be held on to, but unavoidably.
Like she said yesterday, actually already it. So every becoming is actually like too much or too
but it's it as well.
Yeah, but then it's like,
and that's it as well. The whole idea that something has to change or shift is the illusion for what is to be, as we said at the beginning, fulfilled or perfect.
Yeah, but then there's like no real movement or no...
There's no real anything. There's apparent, seeming, is and isn't-ness.
Can you explain this a bit more, the isn't and isn't-ness?
Well, just that it's not substantial, that it doesn't actually exist. It's not an object to grab onto. It's completely insubstantial. This. Not real.
Just what is happening.
But it's not really happening.
Happening would mean that there is time. And,
but there is apparent time.
So you think there is no time.
The apparent time.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually get rid of anything. The only thing that it does is it takes the solidity or the realness, the message does, points out that the solidity of the experience realness of what's happening is illusory. That's all we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that realness makes this seem somehow incomplete, unfulfilled, needing in some way, needing of becoming, needing of something happening.
Because of the thinking of realness.
It's not the thinking. It's the owner of thinking. It's the owner of thinking is the real maker. It's not made real, but the experiences of it's
real. Actually, it's just not knowing what is here.
It's not knowing sounds like somebody not knowing, but we're really talking about the fact that this is simply already unknown.
Yeah. Not knowing is even too much.
Well, it sounds like somebody would do it. Yeah. But the one that really gets the mind, well, it can't be grasped, is that the leg is unknowing, legging. It's the same thing. That's the insubstantiality.
So is that an experience?
No.
No experience?
No. Well, experience requires an experiencer. Now, if you say what's happening is an experience, there's no one having an experience. That's already the case. The funny thing is the end of the experiencer is a sort of a recognition there never was one. It's not really a shift. A shift is still a dream. That something could happen to make this fulfilled.
Falling away of the night.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it apparently happens, but it doesn't make this more or less fulfilled. It only reveals that it is already fulfilled. Yeah.
But tell me some word more about the existence. So no existence.
We were talking about experience.
Recognition of anything.
We were talking about experience. No experience. And existence depends what you mean by existence.
Yeah, that's the question actually.
Yeah. Well, in the dictionary it says sticking out. And for me, that would be some sort of objectification. And so in that way, there isn't any existence. There's nothing separate sticking out.
So if you think there is just wholeness, so which is not divided into separate objects.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. There are apparent different bodies here. The separation happens when there's something in here that knows that. When there's something in here having the experience of separate bodies. This doesn't make everything the same. There's just no longer a position to which it's opposite to.
So you would say that there is even no wholeness. It's just an expression for something. which
well,
has no.
It's wholeness, but not sameness.
Yeah, but the wholeness, the word wholeness also means just something we don't know.
Right, exactly. Well, and complete.
Yeah.
Complete. Yeah, fulfilled, perfect.
Mm.
These aren't concepts to be applied, and the understanding of them isn't the reality.
Mm. But is it not also too much to say it's fulfilled? So I know you try to explain it, what you mean, but
yeah.
Actually every word does not touch it really.
No, of course not. Well, it doesn't touch it in the sense that it's not separate from it. Mm. So any word is it really. Mm. But some words come closer than others.
Apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is misleading. Just even saying it. Mm. Mm. Sounds like it's somewhere else. Mm. Like it's separate.
Yes, I got up to said about I am. So that's the title of the book. But
I am that.
But I think it's also too much.
Well,
what do you think?
I don't know very much. I'm not very studied of Neo-Advaita, but what I've heard is that one of his last books, he no longer referred to I.
Yeah. It's also an idea that there is an I and there is something I am and there is that. And that's too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the realization is that I am everything, but that's still too much. Mm.
There's just nothing.
This is nothing.
Some kind.
Yeah, it's not some kind.
There's just
absolutely.
No,
yeah. And what that touches here is freedom. If that said, all there is nothing, something here goes, freedom. Mm.
So nothing somehow, maybe also a bit misleading because it means no thing. But the German word nichts just is
nichts.
Nichts is nichts. No thing, so
yeah. Well, no thing is sort of descriptive, isn't it? No thing, nothing, no thing, no object. Mm. And I think often this message is completely misunderstood because the understanding seems to be the point for people, and not that it matters, but they not willingly. Nobody makes the choice, but there's a holding on to concepts. And missing that it's not conceptualized. It can't be conceptualized. This.
Yeah. What I just meant is that no thing implies somehow the word of a thing.
Oh, right.
And not to have that even.
Right.
To not even have.
Or not to. Advaita or non-duality.
Not two, not one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
The individual seems, it was like at the beginning, felt like a habit of sitting here and there and someone else. And what happens habitually is waiting here for something. Yeah. And it felt like apart because there is nothing to get. So nothing to wait for. And that's actually, I felt, I'm rather questioning, the individual is doing that constantly, waiting for something.
Yeah.
To whatever.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's not actually waiting, it's picking everything up. through ownership. It owns all perception.
It's not the waiting.
It's constantly picking it up, picking it up, picking it up.
Yeah.
Trying to add it to itself.
Where can you pick?
Yeah, yeah.
And when there is nothing to pick.
No, it's not about nothing to pick. It's that there's no one. Yeah. That's the dream. But just so that we're clear, someone is completeness appearing as someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no value in the end of me.
No, but there was that sense of it falls away.
Yeah.
The I and the something.
Yeah.
And the waiting stays. And the waiting is just fine. That's just what it is.
Completely. Well, I don't know about fine, but everything is already fulfilled. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. There was nothing missing anymore to be picked.
No. But that includes the experience.
It's very subtle, the
yeah.
mind. It's the same and not.
Mm.
Mm. So yes, the individual is already what is.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, there is resistance.
Yeah, well, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The core experience of that separation is that something has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true.
So it's actually even not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for something to happen to make this perfect is not possible. Because it is already perfect.
Even that is not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems, or it feels, at least to me, that as long as the I convection is there, that life is not like we're not living the truth or something.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like it's yeah, and it's tough and stuff like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, it feels like there's nothing to do to get there.
Yeah.
And it may even never happen.
Yeah.
During her lifetime.
Yeah.
So from that, does it make sense to then, I mean, I know we're not doing it, but like to spend time improving the character's experience?
You mean the personal experience?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
You brush your teeth, right?
Yeah.
Well, brushing teeth happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, okay. From there.
But just you said there's nothing to do. And it's not really, there's nothing that could happen to make this more perfect. But the message isn't really about nothing to do. It's about there's no you. There's simply no you.
To do anything.
Right. To choose.
Yeah. It does seem that like from the answer you just gave me, like as if like this character would then be like, okay, well, let's go and improve, right? But,
well, there's two things. I differentiate between the character and the person or the individual. Yeah. The character is just the way that the body is. Mm-hmm. The individual is the one that says, I'm making the choice to do things. The individual is the experience of separation. The character doesn't have an experience of separation. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of the intrinsic nature of the body, about how it functions or speaks, or
and it just
does what it does.
Does what it does.
But actually, there is only does what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
There's
all,
just
the only thing I have to go, we just assign, like we say, that's mine. Whatever
totally.
happens, I do that.
Totally.
It's just not true.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But
no, there's actually no Vorgabe. There's no Vorgabe. There's no suggestion of any way to be or not to be, because it's completely irrelevant to the fulfillment that is already.
Yeah.
So if I understand it rightly, so the statement there is no you is actually also too much.
Well, in a sense, the whole meeting is too much. But there is something about the meeting that clarifies the situation.
Yeah,
that sort of brings,
what I understand.
in a sense, brings light into it.
Yeah. But I just felt the difference between when we have been completely quiet and afterwards when we talk about there is no you or something. So I think quietness is closer to
not
that.
At all.
So actually,
not at all.
It's just
it's impossible to get closer to what
closer,
is.
Not near,
no.
Not farther away.
No. No.
Yeah. No. So actually, it does not depend on what we talk or if we talk.
Well, that's the whole message, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is not dependent. Fulfillment is not dependent. Freedom is not dependent. If it were, it wouldn't be free, would it?
But that's somehow the same when you say it's not dependent or it's not. There is no freedom. So that would be actually similar statements.
There's only freedom. And it's not dependent. I didn't say there is no freedom. There's only freedom.
And beyond the words of only freedom. So I just have a feeling that there is something,
hidden.
No, actually not hidden, but even it does not need these words somehow.
No, of course not. Nothing's needed.
Yeah.
But also, not saying those words isn't needed.
Right. Yeah.
It's really challenging because the eye is just trying so hard. And it's anyway, so it tries in all directions.
Yeah.
The message saying, but who cares?
Well, not
it's
who
anyway.
cares, but it's that already. That's also freedom. Yeah, trying is freedom. Trying to find freedom, which can be very frustrating.
It's okay. Whatever
yeah, it's
okay.
okay. Well, it's not okay, but yeah, it's just what is. Who would judge it as okay or not okay?
No one.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much effort put in it. There's no need at all for any effort.
No, in the sense that there's no need for effort for this to be free.
Yeah.
It's already free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not a realization, isn't it?
No, it's not.
You're actually not talking to us.
No. Well, no one's talking to no one, or nothing's talking to nothing.
And all trying to figure it out is always from the beginning on helpless, and you'll never get to something.
No, you can't figure out what is already.
And also that falling away or that apparent falling away has nothing to do with the realization of a person. So it's nothing to do with an understanding.
Nothing
whatsoever.
No.
It's a total misunderstanding happening here.
Yeah. It's deeper than just misunderstanding. The experience of being separate is deeper than misunderstanding.
Other things happening in my brain, trying to understand what you say.
Yeah.
That's totally irrelevant.
Completely. But everything's irrelevant. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong with it.
Yeah. But I mean that the effort that I'm putting in it to try to, that's totally help.
Yeah. It doesn't help. But it doesn't hurt.
But it hurts. I mean,
no, it doesn't hurt. Hurting doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't hinder this being freedom already. The idea that it does comes out of the experience that something else happened.
I think you also said that the message, if there's a willingness, if there's an openness.
An openness.
Where does that come from? It sounds like
an openness. Where does it come from?
Yeah, it sounds like it has nothing to do with the individual.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So it's deeper. But what is this? This and the resonance that is
same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
But where is that? So
where is it? There's sometimes there's a sense of an inner sort of nodding or a yes to what's being said, or something like that.
Is that part of the character, perhaps a very deep part of the character?
No, I wouldn't say it's part of the character. There's something that already knows what we're talking about. Somehow it's already completely obvious.
Part of the body, part of the energy, part of the...
No, it wouldn't be limited to the body or the energy. But there's just an openness to hearing what's being said. You're not going to be able to put a point on it because what we're talking about is everything. So there's something that's already everything. And there arises in the everything the experience of being separate. And that everything can somehow hear everything.
Everything can hear everything.
Well, it's not limited. It's not defined to the body or to an individual or to somebody hearing it.
Yeah.
It's not defined by this meeting either. It could be a tree or a cloud or a car. That just reflects, in a sense, everything.
Okay.
The perfection. That has nothing to do with anybody.
Okay.
Anyone.
It's as if you try to see the blind spot.
Totally. Well, it's as if there were a blind spot that needed to be seen. Because there isn't a blind spot. There isn't anything missing. Nothing has to be seen.
Can we say that there is no perspective if there is?
Totally. Totally.
What does that mean, if I may ask you about the Ukrainian war? Can you tell me something about how
no perspective sees that?
Yeah, somehow. How would you explain that kind of war?
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's just what is happening.
Yeah, but it's terrible.
Yeah.
So
no pain for many people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not for anything. So no explanation about it.
Oh, there can be explanations. There's sort of three that I've got going about why Putin's doing it. So there's explanations, but there's no value to it. So this can cry by hearing about what's happening and hearing the people be unhappy and all that's very touching. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter because the context, or let's say there isn't a context to the appearance. Mm. It's completely free to be as it is or what it is.
Mm. Even why?
Well, anything.
Yeah.
You have to go all the way to say that it's unconditional love warring.
Yeah.
It is. And the unconditional love can be very sad.
Yeah.
And unjust.
Yeah, unjust that already means that there is a perspective.
Not at all.
So some people think this is unjust, other people think something else is unjust.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't it all about thinking it's real or not?
It's, well, not in that sense. For me, it's not about thinking it's real or not. It's the sense that it matters. That it matters if the world ends.
Yeah, if it's real, it matters.
Yeah, totally. Really, absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
So there's a very strange, for the mind, it seems strange to be emotionally engaged. And yet it doesn't matter.
Totally.
It's like watching a movie, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe not.
No, I wouldn't say watching a movie, but it's just what is, what's happening.
What's happening without context. It's
totally.
Context over.
The context has no context, because like he said, to be able to say that it's unjust is a certain kind of context. A sovereign state being invaded by another state, a rogue state or whatever, seems unjust.
So but there's
no outward context for that. There's unconditional. It's freedom appearing as that.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why often speakers say when asked what's life after that apparent awakening, it's just sitting on the chair. Everybody always sitting on a chair, drinking coffee, walking in a park. It's always something like that, but it's totally missing the context. Actually.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, that's the point. I am a context. That's that's the story of me. I am the context of what's happening.
I'm not without context.
Exactly. And this actually has no context.
Mm-hmm. It's an illusion.
The context is an illusion. Yeah. It's the idea. It's the experience that this comes from somewhere and is going somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And it's totally a filter. I mean,
totally.
The context could be totally different from that appearance.
So that's why there is no because and why as well.
Totally.
There's no context.
That's right.
Yeah. Because really.
There's no because or why for me.
Yeah.
Because I am the illusion. But we can come up with explanations for Putin.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Or for Biden.
Yeah.
But that happens just like that as well. It's a thought.
Totally.
And it happens.
Absolutely.
And then there is another thought. And there is no link.
No, there's no link. Everything is everything.
That's a great statement. Like all of time is all the time.
Yeah, all of time is all the time. All of time. The thing is there's no all the time. That's it. This is all of time.
So that's actually what's happening naturally. In a child, I can see that my boy, a lot of things just are that way. This is why, oh, he has no idea. He
nor does he care.
Yeah. There's just one thing, then there's another thing, and then there's another thing, and there's another world each time. Yeah, he has context, yes, already. But it's like feeling here the individuals like build up so strongly the context that it feels like that.
Yeah.
At times. So freedom is just no context at all.
Yeah. Well, freedom is context. Just context has the experience that something has to happen for it to be free.
Yeah.
The individual can't help but try to find boundaries. Can't help but try to find borders where what it feels like needs to happen is lost is hidden. If there's no context, that'll be freedom. If this happens, that'll be freedom. It's very frustrating that this is already free. It just has nothing to do with you.
It can survive in freedom.
No. Well, of course, it does.
The individual can survive in freedom.
This is freedom. And it seems like there might be an individual in this room, or at least there's claims of it.
I have the experience since when I was a child or in school. The level of the apparent problems I have in my life, more or less, it stays the same. Whatever happens, there are spikes and low, but more or less, you come up with another problem, and then it's that, and then one COVID gets solved, and then comes to even more. And it's like if there would be a need to have problems to prove that I exist.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know that it goes that far. It seems more that the experience of separation is the problem itself. Because the experience of separation is that what's happening is real and it's happening to me. Because problems, in a sense, just understand that, aren't really problems. They're just what's happening. It only becomes a problem in the sense that I have to deal with it when there's somebody owning it. So it's really the owning of it. It's the sense that it's real or that it matters, not actually what's happening.
I mean, the problem is like chosen by filter. Nothing changes, but then something else comes up, which I make a problem of it. But it existed before and afterwards. I mean, problems often don't get solved, but get, overthrown by other appearances.
But the freedom of whatever's arising hides behind the experience that what's happening is happening to me.
Can we say that the me is actually consisting in making a concept?
Owning. It owns things.
You know, without concepts, there is no me, actually.
Oh, yeah, there is. The me isn't a concept. For me, that's too superficial. The experience is owning everything. It's not about concepts. It's about the owner. It's about concepts happening to someone or meaning something to someone.
We have been talking about concepts and making relationships.
Totally, yeah.
So, and I was just thinking, if there are no concepts, so where is my me? Where is a me? There may not be a me when there are no concepts.
No, but it's more profound than that. The experience of separation is more profound.
Tell me again. Then again, what is more profound?
It's not a concept. The me isn't a concept, it's an experience. It's actually all experience. Even the experience of not having any concepts would be me.
Even, can you repeat it?
Even the experience of not having concepts would be part of the separate experience.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So experiencing is actually the me. So it keeps everything on distance. Like me and the feeling.
It has the experience of things being distant. There isn't any distance. That's an illusion.
It must be very intense if just the feeling stays.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a security for the me.
Totally.
Yeah.
Control.
You can always look at things, control, change it. And if there's no me,
boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really. Yeah.
It's like too much to hold it to.
Yeah, there's no, it'd be impossible to hold it together. Yeah. The dream of holding it together is an illusion. I mean, it doesn't happen. It already is immediate, everything. The dream is awareness.
And to control it and to handle everything and to. That's unbelievable.
Literally.
So it's just energetically to make out of nothing to.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
To always be in opposite of the things around, the apparent things around. But there's nothing in the center.
No. Well, there isn't two. What's that?
55.
2:55.
Yeah. Do I have to warn you before?
Yeah, please. At 3:30, raise your hand.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I inherited that.
You're the only one to watch.
Well, you're the first one I call to watch because I see another one there.
Can I just come back to the limits because I can see that. Somehow you can't yet be heard that there is no here, there is no there.
No inside, no outside.
Yeah. No separation.
Right.
It's stupid to ask, can you say? It just seems stupid to ask the question.
Huh.
And yet there is, I can see the individual constantly putting separations. It's not just that it's surprise, it's actually, it likes putting separations.
I have difficulty understanding what you mean when you say putting separation, because it is actually the experience of separation. When it arises, it doesn't just arise in the body and then separate everything from it. It arises as everything, as sort of the solidity of everything. So it's not I am here experiencing everything else. That's part of the dream. It's the I am as solidity, the realness, arise as everything, including space and time. Everything becomes real to me. So there's nothing here that's creating separation. The entire experience of the individual is one of separation, of here and there, real here and there.
And that's an illusion.
Yeah, yeah. But that's just a concept as long as it's happening, because when it's happening, it seems real.
So the whole universe is an illusion?
Well, the illusion is that the universe is real.
The illusion is that the universe is real. It's not real.
No, nor unreal.
Hmm.
It is and isn't.
By saying the illusion.
But we don't have to go to the universe. We just talk about this. This room.
That's pretty good. What do you mean exactly by it is and it isn't?
We started off with that one. The individual gets the is bit, and it just doesn't get the isn't. It's not objectifiable.
Mm.
It doesn't have any solidity to it. There's no one for it to be real to. Or it's just nothing.
So we cannot know what it is actually somehow. The universe.
But no, not only can you not, there's absolutely no need.
Mm.
Knowing it would be objectifying it.
Mm.
And that is, I think, in the end, the very small circle that the I finds itself in of wanting to know nothing, wanting to objectify the end of itself, or this, feeling like it needs to know, that somehow knowing is going to be the solution to itself. Because it feels like it knows, that's sort of the beginning of that experience of separation.
Mm.
It's the knowing of here. There's something comforting about it. And what's hidden to that comfort is that it's actually a need. Having here is need to defend it, need to continue to confirm it.
Mm.
And the idea is that at the end of that is knowing enough or having the right experience, realization, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
that's where the solution is. Whereas there is no solution.
Mm.
The seeker is the illusion.
Mm.
This is already unknown.
Mm.
This.
Yeah, that's a decent universe or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Yeah.
But it believes that because it thinks it's wrong or something is wrong.
It thinks that something needs to happen. Yeah. And some people take on that as a sense of wrongness, but it comes out of the sense that something needs to change, something has to happen.
It's even hard to tell if there's a change in the appearance.
Apparent change.
Apparent change, but no real change.
No. There's nothing really happening. The experience of something really happening is an experience that you are moving through time. So the past is real, future will be real. It moves through creation as its own experience. The end of me sort of reveals that this isn't created.
Isn't created, as in it isn't created by an individual.
No, it's not created. This is uncreated.
But it appears to be created.
No, only to the individual.
Yeah.
When the moment my mother died, there was this picture
of your life, like being in a balloon, and then it collapsed.
Yeah.
It's the realness that brings the unfulfillment with it, or other, if the unrealness of everything comes to fulfillment.
Well, the end of the realness is the end of seeking fulfillment, but the realness is fulfillment appearing as realness. It just seeks fulfillment because the experience is something is missing or something has to happen. But there isn't anything that's not already fulfilled. There isn't anything that's not.
The feeling of it missing something.
That's fulfillment.
That's
fulfilling unfulfilled.
Somehow it feels like the feeling that something is missing.
Totally.
Loses. When the feeling of unrealness of the appearance comes up.
Totally. When the realness evaporates, then the illusion that something's missing evaporates. Yeah.
The feeling of me feels so personal in a way. So it's like that's what I really, really am.
Yeah.
Do you think it comes just through the contracted energy in the body?
Oh, it is. That's all there
personal
is.
Sense of,
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually also this personal feeling is just total neutrality, like everything else.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to ask you why.
Why? Oh, because there's no reason.
Yeah.
But
it seems to happen in every person.
Really?
Yeah.
No, there's only one eye. When there's no one, there's obviously no one.
Yeah. So actually when the me drops, every other me drops as well.
Well, there aren't any other me's. There are claims of me's.
Yeah.
But that's freedom claiming to be me.
So you don't see any other me's.
This can recognize claims of me, of course.
Yeah, but not.
Yeah. There is no real me. And a claim of me has no reality behind it outside the claim of me.
Yeah.
That's all there is of it, is the claim of me. See, the me thinks that there's this process and that it's going to drop, that it's been here and it's moved to here and it will be there. But all of that, that is all part of the dream of me. Because this is everything. And the end of me is this as well. So this doesn't become this when there's no me. It already is freedom or this or the unconditional.
Yeah, it seems so it's feeling so deep, so important. So yeah, you think, maybe it's falling away, but it first has to unravel and drop it.
Dark night of the soul.
Yeah. It's unbelievable that it just can be over in.
Well, it isn't just over like that. It never happened like that because that's all there is.
Somehow.
It doesn't end. The ending of me is a story. And that's you know, the circle of me is wanting to know it's over.
It will never know it.
No.
Because when it's over, it's not here anymore.
That's right. There's no one to know.
Then it doesn't matter if
it doesn't.
Or not.
It only matters in the story of me, which is an illusion.
Yeah, sorry.
Why?
It seems to need to be heard again and again and again and again because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feelings and thoughts somehow seems to be even more solid than objects.
Yes, they feel like they're closer to me. They're one of the biggest problems for me. It's like the biggest issue for me are my thoughts and feelings. That's why detachment seems so enticing. If I could just detach. Yeah.
Would you think the evolution of society makes things, what was the question? Reinforces the me to a certain extent in terms of, you could say society has become more individualistic. Not just in recent years, but I guess.
Well, it is recent, actually. They say since 1970 or 1980, somewhere around there. That's the difficulty with all the vaccinations and everything. If you look at literature, before then, there was a lot more we and us. And after then, there's a lot more I and me. Right? Yeah. That the whole world, I don't know about the East so much as part of it as the West. The West is just becoming much more individualistic. Yeah.
What has that to do with the vaccinations?
Did I say vaccination?
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Just so when I just didn't want to get into that. But, you know, when smallpox vaccination came out in the 40s or 50s, people waited in line.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted, there were anti-vaxxers as well, but they weren't very popular. And there was much more of a collective idea of being as a unit, as a society. And now with the I, me, you know, I make a decision for me, then the sense that, I live for myself and not for the group anymore. And so my decision I can only, I'm there for my body, my freedom.
Going back to what Jenny said about, feeling like this, feeling intimately, I think, it sort of relates in a way that seems to be sort of the only constant, this really undefinable kind of feeling to me, basically. Yeah. Some sort of like almost flavor.
Yeah.
And, but then like what feels that?
Me.
Yeah.
Me, the me.
Okay, so then it's not me that I feel, because it would be like, you know what I mean?
It's the sense of being the center of the happening.
Yeah.
I'm the center. I am always aware. I am the consciousness. It's all mine. Mm. It's all happening to me. I'm the registrar of everything that's happening. Right. Yeah.
But then let's say if I not see it, but like, if I feel it, then who's feeling it? Because like, I can't be.
Is there any separation?
I can't be looking at myself, basically. Like, it seems strange.
It's the owning of it that makes it feel like it's you.
Yeah.
being the owning of the feeling makes it feel like it's all personal. You're the owner of it. Whereas really, in some real way, the experience of being personal is actually distance. Yeah. It's not intimacy at all.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Intimacy is what is without any filter.
Yeah, because I couldn't even see it if it was like that intimate, close.
Totally. There's no one left to see intimacy. There's just intimacy.
Yeah, it's so strange because obviously the body changes, everything changes. Apparently.
It's just this appearance change.
But then there's like this
the solid center.
Yeah, it's like a conviction, that
it's more than a conviction.
Totally never changes.
Yeah.
From childhood to now.
Awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the soul.
Yes, soul.
The soul, yeah.
But it's funny, because in spiritual teachings, often they just tell you to hone in on this,
Absolutely, yeah, totally.
That's the answer.
The unchanging.
Yeah.
What doesn't change?
Because it's unborn.
Exactly.
Well,
that's the idea.
Yeah. No, that's what they say.
Because it doesn't change, it seems like it must be eternal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just basically the fact that it doesn't change, it just means that it's solid.
Yeah.
Realness that.
Exactly.
That is illusory.
Who would know something doesn't change?
Yeah. Funny, because as a kid, I can't remember how old I was, but I very well remember there's a period of time, maybe a year or two, when I had this moment of complete confusion. I was asking myself, who am I? What the hell? I felt the whole family structure and my role in family and relationships were sort of being built up, and when I was stepping out of that, I just couldn't really, it felt really strange.
Yeah.
To
unnatural.
Yeah. Sort of this period of, I think it was getting more solid, maybe. And, yeah.
My son also, when he was around 3 years, he asked me once, Mommy, how did I came here? It was really, and I was oh wow, now he feels like he's here.
Yeah.
I mean, what should I answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was so obvious. Now he feels like I am here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son is 2.5 now. Everything is his. Yeah. He owns everything. The whole world is his. Everyone is here for him. It's very obvious. It's the same when you're adult. But
that's the way I am.
Yeah, when I was really young, I remember my big brother told me somehow that space was infinite,
Yeah.
And I was totally amazed, couldn't wrap my mind around it. And it just fascinated me for years. I couldn't understand, and each time I thought about this word, it just made me dizzy,
Yeah.
Yeah. just the concept of infinite. I didn't carry over the space, but
No. Yeah.
the idea.
So, well, it sounds like it touched more than just, it was more than just an idea.
Yeah, exactly. It was like shaking up.
Yeah.
And almost like a little fear.
And fear comes maybe out of the feeling that you are limited in an unbound or limitless. And being limited in the eternal is frightening.
Well, it actually negates you.
Yeah.
The infinite negates the limited as real. Because in a real way, this is infinite, appearing limited. So there's no solidity to it. There's no where for anyone to know what that means is.
There's that one guy on YouTube who told something like, you're trapped in oneness, you can't get out, you're trapped in oneness.
Yeah.
And that provokes somehow a similar feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it that makes, I feel like a lot of people that hear this message, it often makes the whole spiritual practices drop away.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, again, it's an openness. And when this is in some way seen or recognized or it's being talked about, the idea that it could be found or there's an individual to do it, which is what all teachings are based on, no longer holds water. Somehow there's an immediate, if this is heard in some way, there's an immediate aversion to someone telling you there's something you should or could do to bring about freedom. It just suddenly is like, oh, that's what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah, I've been told this message is responsible for a lot of books being thrown away.
But this may be silly, but like what about, I don't know, like, this is really strange, but like a cookbook telling you what to do, I don't know, like.
Yeah, but it's not telling you how to find freedom. It's just telling you how to make a better jus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some spiritual practices may stay, but not in order to get somewhere, but just because you want to do them.
But then it's no longer a spiritual practice.
Then it's just,
for me, spirituality has to do with the idea that there is something really hidden.
Yeah.
And there is something you could do to find it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so then it becomes just a practice.
Yeah.
Sitting and whatever.
Yeah. Like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens that the person is completely changing. In the history, there's some person, I don't remember exactly, from Saulus to Paulus, you know.
Yes.
Is that was losing illusion?
Yeah, it could be. That hasn't been, I have never thought about that, or that hasn't come to me, but yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe it happens to Putin.
When somebody shoots him.
Or to Biden.
Biden. You don't like Biden? Really? Oh.
Putin is just free to finally to be who he is. He's not in the straitjacket anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To all politicians.
What's that?
Maybe it's happening.
So actually what you say is there is no Putin.
No, exactly. Not really.
Just a feeling. Yeah.
Just a thought. There's no universe.
It's
just this.
Happening.
But this isn't really happening.
Yeah.
There's no one to hold on to it. There's no one to know it. It's just free floating. It's literally just freedom floating.
Containing. If you have no reference system, so you cannot say it's right or wrong.
Totally. Well, there isn't anything right or wrong.
Yeah, it's just.
But some things are touched. Sometimes there's a being touched, and then it'll be, that's terrible or that's beautiful. But there's nothing right or wrong about that. It's the end of morals.
Control as well.
Yeah. Well, it's not the end of control, actually. There already isn't any. It's the end of the illusion of control.
But moral as well, no? The end of moral. I mean, there is no moral anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
Can there be attachments still?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, totally. Addictions, attachments.
Yeah. Attachment to people.
Yeah.
At the end of morals, I mean, the character, you have a child, you're not going to be evil to your children or to your friends or family. There's still a sense of...
You don't know.
Well, I'd like to think so. You seem like a nice guy.
I know. Well, don't I? Could a nice guy talk about this message, really? No, I'm just kidding. No, the idea that morals is sort of a path for the individual of how to be in the context of there being an ideal of right and wrong and good and bad. And that is just illusory. This doesn't have any context. There's no value in torture or not torture. Doesn't mean that it's somebody that will suddenly begin to torture people, but there's no value because there's no need for this to become. It's not becoming. Morals only function or have relevance in a reality that's becoming.
So there would be thought.
There are thoughts.
Just telling your child how to behave now, and then there would be another thought. But there is no system or context or moral.
Right. It already is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is that way, but it does seem that it's 90% people are genuine good, right?
Oh.
Okay. The cases where you hear that, killers, for example, we all have the freedom to go out and kill somebody. I guess we have no choice over that. No, it doesn't happen. But it happens.
Yeah.
It seems to be a low percentage.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is there a reason for that? There does seem to be a tilt in favor of good over evil.
Yeah. Well, there isn't any good or evil. But I know what you mean.
That's a self-serving evolution or some kind of
functional.
Yeah. It's the same in the animal world. Yeah. Yeah.
when you there is a dream and I realize I dream, it is a dream. Is it somehow could we realize this is a dream?
Well, this isn't a dream. The only dream is there's a you perceiving. That's the dream.
The moment the contracted energy moved away,
yeah,
or there was realization. Otherwise,
no, it's not a realization. Realizations only happen to the individual. The end of me isn't identifiable in that way because there isn't anyone to know.
How can it be?
It doesn't. It isn't seen. If it were seen, this would be telling you something that it knows. So all that comes out of this is unknowing. So it's not something that's been recognized or realized anywhere else. It's the obviousness of this. No one's seeing this. This is obviously everything. It's obviously nothing. It's obviously free. That's like no reflection.
When I sleep, there is nothing. No way to tell someone that some wasn't or was or wasn't.
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
This is different.
It is. This isn't nothing to me. It's nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The idea that nothing is blankness. That's not what this is. This isn't blankness.
So this nothingness comes out of them.
No. It doesn't actually, in that sense, it doesn't come or go anywhere. So this is nothing. It's simultaneously something and nothing. And it's not coming from anywhere. There's nothing behind it. Fun.
It's resisting.
So let's have a break.
You have to charge you as well.
Yep.
Jim, I will leave.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it?
Oui, il y a des répercussions trop fortes. Quand il s'interrompt de quand il s'arrête, le jeu voilà, en fait, il est plus d'accord, quoi. C'est juste une. Ah oui, si tu joues plus le même jeu, tu ne peux pas jouer tout ça. Ça ne marche pas. Non.
Is Swiss French as different to French as Swiss German is to German?
No.
Well, I don't know. I don't speak German.
Okay.
Well,
It's not
French is
much.
the same.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just a few words.
Accent.
And the numbers also.
Yeah,
The numbers.
No. Like
So you can understand them.
Oh yeah.
No matter what language, accent or anything, you can follow.
Oh yeah.
But French people can understand
He is French.
Swiss.
Yeah, he's French.
Swiss French.
Yeah.
German can't understand.
No, I can't.
Oh,
I understand nothing.
More different.
You guys, when you guys get into the dialect, it's nothing. It's just nothing. Every once in a while, a word hangs out.
German people either, they don't understand.
But you guys used it pretty fast.
Okay.
It's
For me,
as
it's
much
hard to
as
understand.
we understand if you're talking about nothing.
It's a different sort of understanding. It's a different sort of understanding.
I have a hard time understanding Austrians, German.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird dialect of German.
Yeah. Some of them. I mean, if you're coming from Tirol, then it's oder Vorarlberg. Counting. Yeah. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Even the contracted energy is that still a story? Is it? Or
Not in the same way as the I am is a story. The I am actually never happens, has no reality at all. The contracted energy is literally something that apparently happens in the body.
Right.
It's out of that comes the knower, which is completely illusory.
Just wondering your thoughts. It's not a deep question or anything, but we're using a lot of technology now. There's talk of artificial intelligence, and
Yeah.
some people even believe that this intelligence will at some stage become conscious, have emotions, etc., which points to maybe machines will have an illusory individual as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't imagine they'll have an illusory individual, and I don't think they'll be conscious, but they'll be able to function. They'll just be profoundly functional. That's what I think.
No, I agree. So.
And a lot of what moves this system is intuition. But because the individual is constantly looking for knowing, intuition isn't a knowing, it's intuition. It has nothing to do with cognition at all. And it already moves the system a lot. I don't think the computers and machines will ever have intuition.
Yeah. May I ask something about apparent relationships? As far as I remember, you describe it as a business that happens between two individuals.
Yeah.
Each of them wanting to have the most benefit out of it. If the contracted energy disappears, that doesn't completely change. I mean, it changes probably in the.
There's no more relationship.
Apparent relationship.
No, there's no one in a relationship anymore.
But there's a apparent relationship between two apparent characters.
There's apparently two bodies, but nobody related. No one related.
Bodies?
Yeah.
Relating?
Yeah, okay. But no one doing it.
Yeah. But the system of it, or the functioning of it, remains a business.
Not at all.
As far as, I mean, I don't know. You don't eat stones, I think.
No, sometimes.
No, what does that mean? But you eat the bread.
Okay.
And I would say that's not conscious, but it's the body knows it gets a benefit out of eating bread, but not out of eating stones.
Yeah.
So on that level, I mean, the body chooses or relates with another body, out of which it gets that natural bodily benefit.
We're talking about the initial standpoint of need is what the individual is. And without that initial standpoint isn't need. So the whole interaction has nothing to do with that need, which is the basis for the business agreement. So that basis for the business agreement is no longer there.
But, I mean, the reason for you to eat something, it's not you, but for eating something, is you would not describe it as a need.
Right. Now, now you're mixing things up, the bodily need.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not an individual.
Yeah. But the bodily need to eat something is more or less the same as the bodily need to relate to an apparent other body.
Well, it's not relating, but it's being together. But it's not relating. Relating has to do with separation. And there is no relationship if there isn't anyone.
Yeah, okay. But that's not relating to not another person is out of a need, the bodily need, as it is to eat something.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as eating food. There's no problem with not being in a relationship, with not having another body, whereas not eating food can lead to some issues.
But being alone, I mean, we're social animals.
Yeah, but that need for social interaction just isn't there anymore.
Why would the bodies interact?
Because it's enjoyable, but there's no need.
Okay. Need to survive, maybe not, but I mean, probably like the Maslow pyramid. It's not to survive. You don't need to be with other individuals. But if you're not, I mean, why would you? Why would the body?
It can be enjoyable, but that's not out of a need.
Okay. And what enjoys you is on the level of the body, not an individual, but it can be described as a benefit for the body, the enjoyment.
Food or
relationship.
Well, not in the sense of getting anything, not in the sense that it's feeling a need.
But the benefits of an enjoyment.
The enjoyment, yeah, like walking in the forest.
And this enjoyment appears with a certain other body, but not with another.
Absolutely.
So, to me, it seems like it's maybe different, but the system stays the same. It is the choosing of two to...
No one chooses.
The apparent happening of two bodies.
Attraction, let's say attraction. Energetic attraction.
That's...
Is much, what's the right word? The individual manipulates or distorts the attraction by taking ownership and trying to get something out of it. When there isn't that individual trying to get something out of the attraction or the apparent relationship, the dream relationship, then there's just energetic, there's just energy. And it just flows. There's either an attraction or there isn't. Nobody's doing it. And there isn't anything behind it trying to get something out of it. It's just what seems to happen.
No enjoyment.
Well, enjoyment, yeah. We did that.
Yeah. So that's the body's looks for enjoyment.
Yeah.
So in that sense.
But if it's not happening, there's no lack.
Okay.
Yeah. Whereas for the individual, it can feel very alone and the need to find somebody else to satisfy itself.
I mean, there's enjoyment coming up, but I would assume that still there's, I mean, it's not only enjoyment.
No.
It's often. So it remains somehow compromising. The body gets some enjoyment, but it also...
But there isn't any compromise left. Because there isn't anybody compromising. There's just what seems to be happening. And if it's not enjoyable, because there's no relationship, then there's just separating. And maybe there's coming back together again, or separating. But there isn't anybody trying to maintain a status quo or make anything out of it, because there isn't anybody that needs it. So there's no need to compromise.
What's for you, I mean, your body enjoys something about being with some other body.
Yeah. It's not my body.
Yeah, but the body. One body. And the other body enjoys maybe hopefully no, something of being together with the other body, but it does not have to be the same thing that both of them enjoys of being together.
Yeah.
So in that sense, for me, it appears to be, it still remains a business.
Yeah, because you see it as there are two people being together, rather than just being rather than just being what's happening and no one invested. It just has no relationship. There's no need to satisfy or appease. So there's no need to give up here anything. There's no giving up, there's no compromise. Because there's no need to.
But compromise can appear.
No, because there isn't anyone to compromise. It's me giving up something I want so that the other one can have what they want. And there isn't anyone here to give up. There's just what's happening.
How would you describe them when I say
there's either a yes or a no to doing what the other wants, but there's no one compromising.
Okay.
Because there isn't anyone getting a deal.
I mean, let's say I cooked for Monday, Tuesday, like 4 days in a row, and on Friday she doesn't want to cook.
Oh, damn. Does she cook well? That's a big thing. If she cooks well, then
she doesn't exist. So.
Oh no. Well, let's say she cooks well. But otherwise, it's not a big deal if she doesn't cook. It's easier to order out.
So I would then compromise to cook.
But see, that's the deal. That's what the me does. The me lives in a continuum where it carries a backpack of all the stuff that it has or doesn't have. Rather than the recognition, there's only what's happening. And either there's something that happens or it doesn't happen. And it's completely clean. There isn't any compromise because there's no one to compromise with and there's no need to compromise.
So the me doesn't carry the story of I cook now 4 times.
The me does, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. But when there's no me, you don't realize it's I cooked the last 4 days and now she should cook. It's not the
totally,
story
but there's no
going.
compromise.
Yeah.
But it happens the same.
Well, probably not, because there wouldn't be an argument about it because nobody's hurt. Nobody feels like they're not being loved.
But there can be an argument without feeling hurt.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
So
if they're wrong.
We can have an argument about who should cook today.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Less though. Arguments are a lot of people trying to be right. Mm-hmm. And if there's no one in a relationship, there's no need to be right. There's simply what's happening. An argument is often, you're not loving me the way I want you to. And if there's no one that needs to be loved, there's no one in there who's needy, trying to get something, because that's basically what me is. In a sense, it's need, more satisfy me, give me what I want. Then there's no real basis for that sort of disagreement. There's been cooking for 4 days, then they don't cook, then there's just no one cooking. and then no one cooks again, or someone does with knowing the other wouldn't. I obviously can't explain it in a way, but it seems clear that there's just a clarity about it. It's clean. Huh?
Clean.
Clean.
Like,
that's how it seems, clean.
Like there's no depth or no.
Yeah, there's nothing behind it.
Yeah.
No.
There's no story.
There's no. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, have you finished?
Never.
I was going to say, but if in a couple, one of the two seems to have dropped,
Yeah.
and the other doesn't seem to have dropped. There can be a lot of, I imagine, tension because the one is seeing the games played and the other isn't.
Yeah.
Going on and wanting to play the game because it's just a game of the eye. It's not that he wants to do it or she wants to do it. It's just what's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not very comfortable. Actually.
It can be pretty uncomfortable, I imagine.
Have you lived that with? No, sorry, it's too personal, but there is no one. So I can ask.
Nobody's asking.
But that would be uncomfortable for the one without the me as well.
Yeah. Only for the one without me.
Only for the one without
Yeah. Only for the one with me, with the me.
But for the one without me, it would be probably not enjoyable to be with a body who has a me and is trying to get something out of the not existing you or person.
Well, there's no story about it. It's just what's happening.
And enjoyment is then not happening, I guess.
No, it could be. Why not?
And so on the functional level, staying in this, living together with someone, let's say you're like raising kids or sharing rent or something, like there's those transactions in a way, but like very functional transactions.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing as like deals. Is that what you mean?
Totally. It's not the same as emotional need.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so like the main difference is just there's no more need.
On that level of emotional need. Yeah. Okay.
But that's everywhere. The need is everything in the relationship.
No, well, not if there isn't any need.
Yeah, if there isn't any me, but if there is a me, I need to be loved, I need to be heard, I need to kind of.
Me owns everything.
That, yeah.
And gives it all energy. So here emotions arise. There just isn't anyone that owns them and gives them energy. So it doesn't turn into a story. It doesn't become emotions aren't a story, they're just emotions. It's when they arise in the context of me that it's, oh, I've always felt this way and I'll always feel this way and it's your fault. That's the story.
I know that. That must be very relaxing.
Not if you're the one with the story.
No.
What happens if there's like a disagreement on the functional level? Like,
yeah, well, it's just working out or not working out.
Right. So like someone has to pick up the kids, no one wants to, then they just stay.
They just stay there. They just starve to death. There's nobody kids anyway.
Yeah. I guess in that case, like one body would just get into motion at some point.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Is there any possibility for someone who still has that eye to do something without trying to get something out of it?
No.
It's not possible.
No, because it owns everything, and
right.
Its ownership of everything is a sense that something needs to happen. And so it's constantly trying to add to itself.
Yeah.
It does it, that I has a story, or is a story about what the appearance is about. And that story, in some sense, is seeking. And the seeking has the idea that the end of seeking, of finding what it is that it needs. And so everything that happens is applied to that story.
Mm-hmm. So if someone says, I give you this unconditionally, it's yes.
Well, just because it's impossible to give unconditionally.
Yeah.
For me.
Exactly. It's just not possible.
And simultaneously, what's happening is unconditional.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. This is, in a sense, you could say, this is giving without any need.
Yeah.
Already.
Everything is.
This is.
Yeah.
It's unconditional.
Yeah.
From outside, you couldn't tell if a couple is between two apparent persons or not.
No. Unlikely to be able to tell.
Yeah. It can everything is possible.
Yeah.
So actually something like a couple is not existing.
Relationship, there's no relationship.
Just meet.
But they can appear as a couple.
Yeah.
They can hang out like all the time together, but there's no relationship.
Yeah.
There's no story.
Actually, no expectations.
That's not necessarily true. It depends on what you mean by expectation. So emotional expectation, no. But if you think about it, expectation is just a part of the function of the system, isn't it? If you're driving a car at night, you can't see beyond where the lights are. So there's a certain expectation that there's still a road beyond where the lights are.
There's no expectation of a me. So
but that's not an expectation for me. That's a functional sort of thing.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or the expectation that she cooks today.
But you're a lawyer. You can probably afford it. You know?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's a trauma in your past. Did your mom not cook enough for you?
But I have 7 sisters and brothers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They
ate everything.
Yeah.
That's actually really a problem if you have brothers and sisters, the fear of not getting enough food. I remember that as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But is it always also in relationships just a search for this wholeness?
Oh,
actually,
totally.
The need from the other is the expectation, maybe if she gives enough, it will make me whole.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a search for this melting, and sometimes it seems.
Well, you say searching for
worse.
wholeness. The last thing the me wants is what is. So it's searching for enough for itself. Because it doesn't want, because really what this is, wholeness, you could say it's wholeness, but really it's also just nothing. And the me doesn't want nothing. How could you want nothing?
And on the level of playing games, you said that drops.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't happen that, let's say, she comes home and I make a compliment so that she is more likely to cook.
Maybe.
So that's a sort of a game.
Well, it's manipulation. Yeah. Manipulation could still happen.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe she'll sleep with you too.
Why manipulation would still happen?
Well, manipulation has a negative context, but it's helpful to compliment somebody. If you like them to cook, complimenting on their cooking is a good idea.
Yeah, but if you have the intention,
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I was thinking that was stop too. No. Oh.
Don't see why it would. It seems very functional and not in that sense emotional of trying to get, a certain sense of lacking met. But, you enjoy their cooking, complimenting their cooking means they'll cook more often.
Yeah, but if you compliment before the cooking, it's different.
Yeah, well, yeah, if it works. Whatever works.
But all the power games work. Why do they drop?
But they're not looking for this sort of need of me not being enough, me having some sort of need of needing you to make me whole. It's not coming out of that.
Oh yeah, I can see, but it's
just very clean. Yeah, It's just
If
very
I
clean.
manipulate to obtain something, but I don't really need it.
No, well, not on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like I changed the tire to have my car functioning.
Yes.
So whatever.
You manipulated the tire so that
Exactly.
your car would
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's already no me. Let's say, like, staying in this couple, like a couple who's playing games and dealing with each other.
Yes.
In a relationship. There's already no me there, right?
No, but that's just a concept.
Yeah.
If there's that experience.
Yeah. It's just sometimes I struggle to understand because how could it be different if there's already no me? How could it appear different?
Because that experience of separation has certain effects on what's happening, in the sense that it has a sense of lack, which is wholeness, sensing with the sense of lack, and the need to become something, the need to find, satisfaction.
Yeah.
And so it manipulates, it takes ownership of what's happening and tries to form it to fulfill what it feels like needs to happen. It tries to collect to itself. And in that way, it has an effect. Like it has an effect on thoughts and feelings because it gives them energy.
Yeah, more like seeking.
And everything we've just said is a story. None of it really happens. But in the story of me, that's what the experience is. And it seems to have an effect in the story.
Okay, so the effects are part of the story.
Totally. Anything we can talk about around all of that is a story. Yeah. Relationship or no relationship is a story.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So no relationship, anger can appear, and it's just anger. Yeah.
It's just anger.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no context, no story about, or it's good or
well, it's
bad.
a response.
Yeah, that is a response, and there will probably be a response or not.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it.
That's the way you say clean.
And no one to blame. Clean, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no one to blame.
Yeah.